Hello, welcome to another Monday astrological forecast with me, Natha Campanella. I'm going to be talking about the astrology for the week of March 23rd through the 29th. But if you're interested in a big picture astrology lesson, you should join me for a free online gathering that I'm hosting with two of my colleagues on March 24th. It's called Collective Transformation, and you can register for it in my bio. So we have a new moon this week. It's in the sign of Aries. Aries is a polarizing energy. Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, and Mars is the planet of war. Aries energy serves us really well because it teaches us how to be assertive and even how to be aggressive and go after what we want. It also helps us establish boundaries. But sometimes aggression is scary. And sometimes when we're talking about things like anger, if people are expressing anger in unhealthy ways, that's scary, right? If they're explosive, if they're reactive, if they're violent, then Aries energy becomes something that we all try to shield ourselves from. But on the flip side of that, Aries energy is also really valuable because it helps us get our needs met. And so all month, while the sun is in the sign of Aries, we're going to be looking at those themes. And you will be looking at them personally for how they show up in your life. What is your relationship to anger? Are you somebody that explodes and blames and gets violent? Or are you somebody that gets meek and passive, never standing up for your own rights or your own needs? And you'll probably find that there are places and situations and relationships in your life that you are all over the board with that. So the new moon takes place in the sign of Aries. Both the sun and the moon are there, along with Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. So we will be asked during this new moon to heal some of our relationship to anger. And what an interesting time to have to do that when we're all in a place of instability, where we're all cooped up and we're really face to face with some of our emotional responses. So I encourage you during this new moon to really stay with yourself and be very aware from a distance, if you can be your own witness, of the times and the things that cause you to rear up and get angry and want to retaliate or want to explode versus the times when you just sit back in like a sort of a fear response and not wanting to assert. Because that's what this new moon is going to help us decide, and it's going to help us to heal some of that stuff too. So, conflicts and disagreements may present themselves to you, and that's great. It gives you the material to work with. A word to the wise is to choose your battles wisely. Know that when we are trying to get ahead, and we're doing that on the backs of the people around us in our community and those we love, that our actions are going to come back to haunt us in some way. And the same is true for when we get very passive and we decide that we're not going to move into action, or we shove our anger down, because when we do that, guess what? It comes out again, somewhere, somehow, in inappropriate ways, okay? So we also have Jupiter, the planet that makes everything bigger, in a conjunction with Pluto this week. This is a transit that's going to happen 3 different times this year. Pluto, remember, we've had a lot of Pluto action. Pluto is that planet that wants us to bring things that are unconscious up to the surface to look at. Unconscious things are unconscious for a reason. They're usually kind of painful. We don't want to look at our addictions. We don't want to look at the emotions that we have intentionally repressed. And yet, if you want to do this emotional work, start doing that. And Jupiter is going to make all of those things seem even bigger. So, like I said, this is a basically a transit that's we're going to be feeling all year, but we're going to be feeling it particularly strongly this week. Pay attention to where you feel burdened, to where you are assuming responsibility that's not yours, or where you are not assuming the responsibility that is yours, and how that impacts you, how that shows up in your body. Because if you are willing to become aware of your shadow aspects, then this year is going to be a lot easier for you. But if you are trying still to push it down and numb and avoid and act out and blame, then it's not going to be as easy. And Pluto work is never easy. But if we go willingly and we say, all right, show me what needs to change, show me the dirt and the mud that is underneath my proverbial rock of my subconscious, so that I can see what's there and work with it, then the path to awareness opens up, and it is no longer a big fight where we're trying desperately to cover our eyes and pretend like something isn't there. It's where you shine a light into the dark corner so that it's no longer dark. Of course, you see what's in the corner, you have to deal with it, but it's no longer this big mystery that you're spending all of this effort trying to avoid. All right, I think that's it. Share this message, leave me comments if you have questions, and if you want to work with me privately, you can find me at nathacampanella.com. Have a good week. Happy new moon.